In my childhood, Tskaltubo was an amazing resort. It was an ensemble in which excellent architectural, monumental buildings, sanatoriums, hotels, and an extraordinary 80-hectare garden were combined. My grandmother, Nadezhda Trebladze, very often took me here, to Tskaltubo, and it was absolutely different from the rest of Georgia. It was a particularly well-groomed, overly green city, and in western Georgia, Tskaltubo was rightly one of the most beautiful, sophisticated, and well-groomed places. First of all, as a girl, this place attracted me with its extraordinary beauty. And since I'm from a family of doctors, already in high school, I began to realize how many patients with various diagnoses can feel relief and even comprehend healing in Tskaltubo. Proof of this was the influx of tourists and patients in Tskaltubo in those years. But before returning home in the hotels, they left everything that they used to move. They were walking sticks, crutches, and even wheelchairs. And living in Tskaltubo, they left all this inventory in the hotel rooms. In different sanatoriums during those years, that the city authorities came up with an interesting idea to collect all these things together and create in the Tskaltubo resort the so-called Museum of Abandoned Crutches, which still exists today. 10 years ago, my family, and since my husband was born and raised in Tskaltubo, made the decision to rehabilitate a significant part of this resort and began construction of a rehabilitation center called Be Healthy. And I, being a doctor by profession, myself gave this name to our center. This call is the main slogan for all mankind so that they take care of their health as well as of others.
The first time I came to Tskaltubo several years ago, I was delighted. I was familiarized with the concept of development of this resort, in particular the peculiarities of its circular layout and the fact that in the park, right from the bowels of the earth, medicinal water of world importance beats. In the perimeter of the park, there are various hotels, and around them are densely populated residential areas. Here I came across a radically different picture, different from what I could find out, and this stimulated me to see with my own eye the true potential and future development of this complex, and the real vision of how this complex should be developed was born.
For the 6th year, as Be Health, or in other words, Bath number 2, has been functioning in Tskaltubo, and over time the geography of our visitors has grown a lot. It has already crossed the borders of neighboring countries, gaining a universal international scale. That is, we now have vacationers from America to China. And as they say, the reason for all this is the main healing factor possessed by Tskaltubo. Specifically, this is her radon mineral water. In recent years, it has become clear to the whole world and to all mankind what a great role human recovery plays with the help of preventive medicine. What exactly our resort is doing. We have a lot of patients, both local and from abroad, who need rehabilitation after suffering a coronavirus. As you know, this is a disease that unfortunately leaves multi-organic damage in the human body, and people need restorative therapy in order to restore their previous health. And so I will introduce you to our rehabilitation center. I will show you everything that is inside the building of this center, and you will see for yourself how many procedures we have in order for the person to heal completely. Welcome to the Balneo Rehabilitation Center. Be healthy. The exact name, Complex Number 2, which is located in a historical place known as Governor's Baths. This is the name of this place for a long time. The Tskaltubo resort was built during the Stalinist rule of the Soviet Union, and the buildings throughout the resort maintained the style of Stalinist classicism. And therefore, wishing not to destroy but to preserve this majestic style, we decided to introduce elements of the old Stalinist classicism into our new modern buildings. We used the most neutral, soothing colors so that from the first entrance, from the first step in our building, the patient would feel a kind light radiance and calmness. We are now located next to our doctor's offices. There is also a reception. This is a registry where each patient receives an individual treatment scheme, printed and written by hours and minutes, and according to this plan, the patient visits offices and variety of procedures. Here we are on the lowest floor, where the Paleological Baths are located. You can see this panorama, which contains both relaxation and tranquility. Even the colors and dim light on this floor have been specially selected to inspire pleasant silence. And all this, in a complex way, has a very good effect on the positive disposition of a person. In terms of saturation, the Tskaltubo water belongs to the group of low-radon waters. As you already know, the physiological temperature of our body is 36 and 6, and the temperature of this water is as close as possible to the physiological temperature of our bodies. And it is 34-35 degrees Celsius.
Сегодня мне проводили массаж, потом релакс. Мне 60 лет, я омолодел, правда. Я чувствую себя прекрасно. Всем советую приходить здесь и самим попробовать. Это было замечательно и супер. Желаю всем удачи. Tskaltubo всегда ждет вас.
Recently, Baden-Baden has practically become a mecca of modern plastic surgery, and this is because people who go there, in addition to rest, do various plastic surgeries, procedures, and rejuvenated on body and face, return back to their homeland, to their families. And we started this practice by creating an extraordinary beauty parlor. And although we do not do plastic surgeries, we do facial modeling, not to mention the fact that the procedure begins with cleansing the face, then it's massage, which includes a non-inertial massage. We have in stock absolutely all the equipment and all the necessary tools which are used all over the world. And finally, all the world's leading brands that only exist in inertial therapy are in our list of cosmetology services, and Kalbatoni Tanta, our famous cosmetologist, she's education and a rehabilitation specialist too, is always at the workplace, does all the procedures, and it is very important that she already has a lot of regular clients who come from Israel, Cyprus, Greece, America, Canada, and so on further, in order to get the rehabilitation that Tanta offers them. And after all, they return home extremely happy. Our specialists are constantly working to improve their skills and knowledge. They attend the trainings of world-famous specialists who come to Tbilisi. We do not miss a single training session that we can only attend, and of course there are tangible results. One of our masseuses, Anna Mushkudiani, after the championship of masseurs, became the champion of Georgia in massage.
Прекрасные впечатления от оздоровительного комплекса, очень приятные процедуры, очень доброжелательные сотрудники и прекрасное ощущение после всех процедур. Выходишь, как будто сбросил 10 лет. Молодой, красивый, счастливый.
Ой, слушайте, впечатление волшебное, это чудесно. Утены золотые руки. Такое расслабление, чувствуешь себя как заново рожденный. И очень благодарна. Сегодня просто великолепный день, и это место, оно волшебное на самом деле.
We arrived in Georgia and began to explore some settlements and historical, cultural and tourist places to feel all this charm for ourselves. And suddenly a miracle happens, and we're given a 2-day visit to Tskaltubo with all the procedures of this sanatorium. And we ourselves saw and felt how professionally all this is done, how warmly we were received, from the receptionist to doctors who devotedly serve their work. And most importantly, here you can feel the professionalism that accompanies everyone who works here as a red line. I'm very glad that this meeting took place, and I advise you to come to Tskaltubo, and this land will attract you so much that you will have a great desire to return again and again, despite the fact that you will be treated and recovered here. Come and see for yourself.
Many thanks to this country for the warm welcome, for the wonderful weather that we have had this month in November, 25 degrees. For Russians, this is just a figure. Therefore, people here are probably greeted with such warmth. Many thanks to Tskaltubo for the pleasure that we got in the Paleological Center. Even that only day when we visited there, we really felt this water heals, these muds heal. These people, with their own hands, they treat us with their hearts and give us the opportunity to live longer, happier and healthier lives. I want to express my deep gratitude to this beautiful country, Georgia. This beautiful place, Tskaltubo, which we managed to visit and see its uniqueness. Thanks to the hospitality of the inhabitants of this country. There is water of unique properties which has no analogues even in more than one place in the world. People with various diseases come here and live healthy. And they definitely want to come back here again and again. Living here, having attended some procedures, trying the healing properties of water, and having gone through massages, you seem to be throwing off your shoulders for 10-20 years. and leaving this place young, healthy, and happy. I think that in the future, much more private investment should go towards Tskaltubo, and the efforts of my family, which believed in the omnipotence of Tskaltubo, should become a role model for other businessmen, since we were born and raised in these parts, and in our historical consciousness, there are many examples of the miraculous influence of this health result on the hopelessly sick. I call on all businessmen to invest in Tskaltubo, and these investments will not be wasted. All old, now destroyed sanatoriums will be restored, new hotels, newest rehabilitation centers will be erected. Emirati is very rich in tourist routes and various programs for tourists, with all educational tours that will help you perceive our homeland, the natural and historical wealth of our ancient land. Finally, we welcome everyone who contributes to this.
All that I remember from my childhood and after the collapse of the Soviet Union, when I went abroad and saw what such resorts as Baden-Baden, Karlovy Vary, Nice, Cannes and others are, I realized that in those years Tskaltubo was at the same level, just like that. Tskaltubo was one of the most beautiful spots on the map of the Soviet Union, and the recreation sector was at a high professional level. Main attraction was serious medical care, and in the matter of rehabilitation, Tskaltubo was one of the strongest resorts in the world. I remember this very distinctly. After all, my entire childhood was spent here. When I was fully ready to do something valuable for my country, I chose this dear city of my childhood. I am lucky that I did a lot for him. A very secure, serious rehabilitation center. We also have a small, wonderful sanatorium and an excellent restaurant. This is all complex. The objects are under the roof of one brand called Park Hotel Resort Tskaltubo, and I am very glad that we can adequately meet our customers who come to us and always live happy. What's in the future? Judging by the flow of visitors, we can confidently say that Tskaltubo began to focus not only on Georgia. In Tskaltubo we receive visitors from many foreign countries such as Israel, Poland, Germany, Italy, Greece, from the Arab countries. After all, we have very effective programs for weight correction, and of course, many programs for complete health rehabilitation. And of course, especially an EQ medicinal bread and water. And I think that Tskaltubo has a very great future, and this resort is a diamond star of Georgia. But he is not appreciated. The government does not properly perceive the specifics. It seems that a development project are being produced, but at the same time they want to make it look like the city of Combo in Italy or Baden-Baden. But no, Tskaltubo is radically different from them and stronger than them. I'm going to further develop the base of the sanatorium, and I'm very actively involved in the projects. And if my opinion is here, Tskaltubo will become the greatest resort of a global scale. Yes.